I think that what we wanted to address today, or at least start with, and then of course answer your questions, was State v. Blake. This ruling came out on the 25th of February at 8:32 in the morning and created a 60-page ruling, which we feel like will have really high risk to public safety due to the outcome and the fallout of this legislation. So what House Republicans did is we've been working on a package of bills to present in response to that. So I'll briefly run through those bills, and then I'm sure we're happy to answer any questions on any topics you have today. So the first thing that we thought about was due process, and we wanted to add knowingly back into the statute. It's a simple fix. It's a one-word fix. And basically it says it's unlawful for any person to possess a controlled substance without a valid prescription. And all we're asking is to put that one word back in there and make sure that it's knowingly to possess. So that Representative Jesse Young is going to carry that for us, and he's been doing an excellent job on that on House Bill 1560. The second fix that we came up with in response was by Representative Brad Clippert, and we want to be able to look at local jurisdictions to make decisions regarding that. So it removes state preemption in order to relate it to the possession offenses. So if Seattle wants to have it okay for simple possession to be taken out and invalid, then we want to make sure that maybe a small town like mine in Eastern Washington can pass ordinances, enact ordinances to make sure that that's not the case here. We have grave concerns about that being blanketed across the state of Washington. That will, he'll be pushing that forward, and he's doing a great job on 1562. The third fix we came up with had to do with what we learned in a bill, House Bill 1499 from Lauren Davis, Democrat. She had a very large bill, and parts of it were excellent. We were absolutely in support of it, but there was enough of it in it that we ended up having to vote no. We took those pieces with her consent, and we've been working with her, and created House Bill 1558. Representative Dan Griffey is going to be carrying that, and it looks at ways to promote recovery. So I think there's not one person in the legislature who doesn't want to get help for those who are addicted to substance abuse. But what this does is it sets up the behavioral health systems in order to be able to do that, because we would argue there's not enough infrastructure to take care of those who are suffering today. So it adds law enforcement training to give officers the chance to learn how to interact with someone who's maybe under the influence of heroin or meth or fentanyl, which are allowed for simple possession under State v. Blake. It also looks at low barrier recovery systems to make sure that we can reach those who need help the most. And also it'll make sure that it addresses aftercare, which Representative Davis did a great job of educating us on how important it is to do that wraparound service. Not just put them in treatment, but to make sure that they have a path out where they can stay in a healthy state of mind. Also, it looks at an advisory committee in that one, and so Dan Griffey is going to be carrying that for us. The fourth bill is Representative Jenny Graham's looking at, and she's making it so that when we want to increase the offenses for penalties, and we want to make sure that we're making it more difficult to manufacture drugs in the state of Washington, to distribute or to conduct any business regarding the controlled substance or the counterfeit. There's a large market of counterfeit in the state of Washington. It also makes sure that it written currently in the statute, it's a crime to endanger the use of a controlled substance, the child, but it's only for methamphetamines. It doesn't include any of the other drugs, which are going to fall under State v. Blake, which is the fentanyl and heroin. So it expands that and makes sure that we also make illegal the products used to make those drugs, such as methamphetamines. And lastly, the fix that we're looking at, I'll be carrying, and that has to do with, under State v. Blake, we didn't address the age of children. There's not a prohibition, whether it's a 10-year-old with heroin or meth, or whether it's a 35-year-old. So this says that it's never okay to do nothing. And House Republicans want to argue that we shouldn't be able to see a child in danger on the street and just walk away, not give law enforcement the ability to make sure that they can help them get the help they need and make sure that they don't have a life of addiction. So That in closing, I will turn it back over to take questions, or we can go to our leader, JT Wilcox or Senator Braun, or Rep.